Hey guys, this is Coach Alvarado. This is my first video, so kind of bear with me. But today what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, now some of you, most of you, this should be a review. Okay, because we did it in class a little bit. You did it in 8th grade, and some of you did it last year in Algebra 1. All right, so what we're going to do is a quick review. All right, if you don't remember, because I know you don't have your journals. Okay, Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, and we are dealing with right triangles. Okay, we are dealing with right triangles. Now, before we get into this, I need to show you a couple of steps that you're going to need on the worksheet that I've provided on Google Classroom. Okay, so if you remember, okay, obviously when we have exponents, 2 squared, 3 squared, okay, that simply means 2 times 2. This obviously means 3 times 3. Okay, very important that we remember this. Now, that's the easy part. The hard part, the other stuff that I need to remind or show you, okay, is when you have a square root. And now, how do I undo a square root? Now, because you're going to get to some problems that they're going to have once you set it up as a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You're going to get to some problems where you're going to have something like this. Square root of, let's just say 13 squared is equal to, I'm just making this up, I'm just going to say 6. Okay, so there are my 3 numbers. All right, so now this is pretty simple. We know this is going to end up being 9. All right, and then here, now how do I get rid of 13 squared? Okay, now that's kind of challenging. Now, but the rule does not change. 3 squared is still 3 times 3. Okay, now 13 squared, nothing is different. Okay, so what I mean by that, all right, is if I have a square root of 13 and I'm squaring it, that's the same as square root of 13 times the square root of 13. And the only thing that happens is this square root box disappears. The answer to the square root of 13 times the square root of 13 is simply 13. Okay, so that's what happens when you square one of these square roots. All that happens is this square root box goes away. You end up with just 13. Okay, so that's one of the main points, one of the tricky things you're going to see on that worksheet. So just make sure you know that. Let me go ahead and erase this. All right, so on the worksheet that you are going to have, it's on Google Classroom. The worksheet is going to say 10, 1K. Okay, 10, 1K. The problems that you will be working out on your own is going to be 1 through 20. Okay, now, really, it is only 1 through 19. Okay, let me correct myself. Okay, but on your Google Classroom, there's going to be an answer document. Okay, you're going to have to go in there. It has 20 blanks. Okay, now 1 through 19 is strictly coming from 10, 1K. Okay, now number 20, when you get to number 20 and it's asking you for your answer, that is not on your worksheet. Okay, number 20, I need you to write your name. Okay, number 20, you're going to write your name. Okay, now remember, this is strictly for the Google Doc that is also going to be given to you in the Google Classroom. Okay, so please make sure you see this. If you forget or you get to a point and you're like, I forgot, start the video over, find this part. That's very important, because if not, it will count number 20 against you if you do not write your name. Okay, and if I see that you make a mistake, I know it's all our first time, I'll go in there and try to fix it best I can, but please try and remember that number 20, you're going to write your name in the answer document. Okay? All right. All right. So on this unit, in this unit, we are talking about obviously the Pythagorean theorem, but we're also talking about the Pythagorean theorem and its converse. Okay, so now if you remember kind of towards the beginning of the school year, I think it was before Christmas, we did a thing called conditional statements. Okay, conditional statements basically in a nutshell was we made if-then statements, right? So if we said if P, then Q, meaning these two things were something totally different. Like if I go fishing, then I will catch fish. Okay, so this right here would be a conditional statement. Okay, so I'm just gonna put conditional right here. Okay, so right now our conditional is our Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so in regards to the Pythagorean theorem, our conditional statement, okay, our conditional statement is if a squared plus b squared equals c squared, okay, then we have a right triangle. Okay, so that's our conditional statement. Okay, and you'll notice that the title of your paper on 10-1K is Pythagorean theorem and its converse. Okay, so my conditional statement right now is if a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then we have a right triangle. Okay, so all converse is pretty much the opposite. Okay, we're basically going to flip these two things. We're just going to flip them in the same type of sentence. Okay, so if we have a right triangle, okay, then a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, so these two are pretty much married to each other. All right, so that's all we're talking about. And we got our conditional statement, the converse. Okay, this right here would be our converse, the bottom section here. If we have a right triangle, then a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, we just kind of flip those. All right. So now that's a lot of writing, that's a lot of talking. Let's get into some numbers. Okay. Oh, by the way, today, those of you that remember, today is Metal Monday, so I don't know if you can hear it faintly in the background, but there is some music playing. All right. So first example, we're going to do basic Pythagorean theorem. Okay, I've got a right triangle. Okay, my basic example, I'm just going to put 3, 4, and x. Okay, so if you remember, your hypotenuse is always directly across from the right triangle. Okay, so this right here makes x my hypotenuse. Okay, x is my hypotenuse, meaning that 3 and 4 would be our legs. Okay, hypotenuse is always your C. Okay, now 3 and 4 are going to be our legs. Okay, we can call this one A, and we'll call this one B. Okay, now remember these, it does not matter which one what order these two are in. This one could be A, that one could be B, it does not matter. The only one that matters is this one. This is always C. The one directly across from the right angle. The longest side is always C. Okay? So if I'm going to set this up, my Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, so now I'm just going to substitute. Where there's an A, I'm going to put number 3. Where there's a B, I'm going to put number 4. And then, of course, for C, which is what we're looking for, we're going to insert, we can insert X, but I'm just going to leave it as C for right now. Okay, so I've got 3 squared plus 4 squared. I'm just substituting A for 3 and B for 4. That's all I've done here. And we don't know what C is, so that's what we're looking for. Okay. Now, we talked about earlier, 3 squared. If I were to simplify that, work it out. 3 times 3, I get 9. Plus 4 times 4, it's going to give me 16. And I end up with c squared, because I do not know what c is, so we can't do anything here. Combine these, you end up with 25 is equal to c squared. Okay, so now, how can I get rid of a exponent? How can I get rid of this? Okay, now I can't divide and I can't subtract or anything like that. What do you have to do when you get to this point? We got to find the square root. That eliminates this exponent. It cancels it out. Once you do that, you're left with just c. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and write it right here. I'm left with just c. Okay, now if I do the square root of one side, I've also got to do the square root of this side. Okay, so the square root of 25, meaning a number times itself, that'll give me 25. The only one that will work out is number 5. Okay, so for this problem, my answer would be 5. Okay, x is equal to 5. Okay, now you're going to use this process pretty much for 1 through 18. Okay, you're going to use this Pythagorean theorem. Now, it's not always going to work out this pretty, okay, because you're going to have numbers that are bigger, smaller, some that don't work out. You're going to end up with square roots instead of whole numbers. Okay, so, but as long as you know the process, you're on the right track. All right, let's do another one. All right, so let's just say I had a triangle with 4, 9, and 15. Okay, now some of them, they're going to give you all 3 numbers, and they're going to ask you, is this a right triangle? Okay, now it definitely looks like one. The only way to prove it, okay, is to apply the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so again, I'm going to make sure that this works out. All right, so Pythagorean theorem again, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right, 15 is across from the right angle, so that means this is my biggest side. Obviously, it's bigger than 4 and 9. So this one right here is going to be my hypotenuse. That is going to be our letter C. Okay, so now this one's a little different because we're not missing any numbers. We have all 3. We just have to prove, is this a right triangle? Your answer is going to be yes or no. Okay, so this is our C. Remember, these can be A or B. It doesn't matter. Again, I'm going to call this one A and I'm going to call this one B. Okay, so 4 squared plus 9 squared equals 15 squared. Okay, now if I work this out, I end up with 16 plus 81 equals, let's see what this one is. It's a big number. I don't have that one memorized. 7. I got 5 1 to end up with 225. Okay, so I've got 16 plus 81 equals 225 after I've plugged it into the Pythagorean theorem. Now, 81 and 16 is going to give me 97. 97 is not equal to 225. Okay, that just does not work out. So my answer for this would be no, this is not a right triangle, because when I worked it out in the with the Pythagorean theorem, I did not end up with numbers that were equal to each other. Okay, now I hope this kind of helps. You know, again, this was my first video. I miss you all very much. I've seen your messages online. I just haven't got to reply it. Just trying to get everything ready to make videos. I'm gonna make 2 a week. Okay, and then if we need to, if y'all are having problems, we can set up Zoom meetings or Google Meets meetings where we can talk face to face, or just have a whole class session in person. Okay, so again, I'm going to release all this tomorrow, and things will be due, we'll just say by Friday. Okay, and if we need more time, we can extend it. We're going to be flexible. I'm not going to be very demanding, because I know this is new for everybody, including me. Okay, so just kind of bear with me. Stay safe, stay home, keep in touch. If you need anything, let me know. You can get a hold of me through the Google Classroom. I guess that's it, guys. We will see you the next time. If you have any questions, go ahead and post it on the Google Classroom, either there on the stream in the very front, or you can send a message. I think you can send messages on there. If not, I mean, just go ahead and post it on the comments so I can see what you need or what you need help with. And if anything, I can post another video, or like I said, we can have a live meeting. Just let me know what y'all need. I'm here for you. Stay safe. We'll see you.